across the valley. This is Good Day Sacramento.
Coming up new at 8, the 10 things you can do to keep your Valentine. Romance novelist Brenda Novak joins us with advice she found while doing research for her books.
Hey, are you looking to keep your Valentine for years to come?
New York Times best-selling author Brenda Novak knows the best ways to do so after writing over 30 romance novels, including her latest book called Killer Heat. Marianne's with our romance expert this morning.
Yeah, and that's part of a trilogy we'll talk about in just a second. But you can't write 30 novels and not take a little bit of something home with you about love and what works.
Yes, you definitely have to have an intuitive understanding of relationships, and I think that really comes into play between the characters.
Well, Valentine's Day is coming up on Monday, and so Brenda sent us some tips on how to keep your Valentine, which, you know, you can always, anybody can get a Valentine. It's holding on to the Valentine. That is the key. The first one is to avoid negative thought patterns, and a lot has been said about positive thinking, you know, The Secret came out and all that. How so? Avoiding negative thoughts?
Well, I think that that's something that is a big pitfall that a lot of marriages and couples fall into, because it's that irritation that you let creep in, the roll of your eyes, constantly thinking negative thoughts. This irritates me, that bugs me. You can take little things and really turn them into, you know, molehills, turn them into mountains. Yeah. So I think that that's a real danger, because that really gnaws at the bond that holds you together.
We talked last week about how people are nicer to their dog than they are to their spouse.
Right, exactly. Sometimes. And you run into that a lot. You know, you put your best face on for other people, and you expect your spouse or loved one to kind of put up with you when you're not at your best, instead of putting your best face on for them.
And you mentioned being, you know, that we get irritated. The second tip is to be more flexible and forgiving with your spouse than you are. We're nicer to almost everybody sometimes than we are with the most important person in our lives.
Exactly. They see us at our absolute worst, and I think it's really important to be somebody that they're going to want to be with. Just like, you know, be somebody you want to be with.
Right.
So, and that's not somebody that's always, you know, showing their worst side and being irritated and being negative. And so I think it's really important that we, you know, put on a social face somewhat for our partner too, or at least be the best we can be for them.
That's a good tip. Or the third tip is don't get too practical. Now, my husband and I fall into this. We were talking about this the other day, because we always say, I said, oh, don't say, you know, save the money. The cats are going to eat the flowers anyway. You know, there's really, you know, no problem. And he likes to do those things. And so then you start going, well, plus we're saving money. We're saving $30, $40, $50 if we do that.
Right. You get really practical, and it's easy to do, and it's easy for you to sort of discourage your mate, just like you said you do. You know, say, oh, no, that's okay. We don't have to do that. But I think some of those things are really important, because they are that extra sort of extravagant thing, and it says simply, I love you. I mean, there's nothing to it beyond that. And so I think that those, you know, you can get a little, I don't want to call it cheap, because I do the same thing. You know, you start pulling back thinking, oh, no, our kids are more important, or our bills are more important. But there's really nothing more important than that bond between you and the most significant person in your life.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Number 4, I like this, and we do this a lot. Be physical, touch a lot. Yeah. I'm all over them all the time.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think it's important for other people to sort of see it. I'm not talking about major PDA, you know, where people are thinking get a room, but just little, little constant touches and reassurances. And I think kids that see that between their parents, I think that's reassuring, and everybody gets to feel, you know, like the world is right, and we're going to be okay, and my parents are okay, and it's just a real positive thing all the way around.
I get a kick out of seeing elderly couples holding hands when they walk down the street. I love things like that, and so even just holding hands when you're 45, it feels kind of fun.
Exactly. I love when we're driving, my husband just reaches over and takes my hand, and it's just such a simple gesture. Yeah. It doesn't cost him much, doesn't cost me anything, and it's just kind of a fun thing.
And number 5, this is a good tip for everybody, is to take care of yourself. And that doesn't necessarily have to be some, you know, hot, gorgeous model.
No, and you don't have to be young, you don't have to be particularly beautiful, but you do have to be the best you can be. And I think that you can enhance your mind. You can, you know, take in things that make you better at conversation, so that you have more to say when you are together. So, you know, you just really want to put on your best self for your mate.
Very good. Well, you are a busy author. Look at you. Every year she comes out with a new trilogy of books. This is, well, I guess we'll call it the Heat series.
Yes.
White Heat, Body Heat, and Killer Heat. You must, and you've got another one planned already for this year.
Yeah, I do. I have 3 more coming out this summer. It starts with Inside, which is a prison setting in the book, so the stakes are very high, but kind of exciting.
Fun. We'll look forward to that. You can find the rest of Brenda gave us 10 tips in all. The other 5, along with the 5 we mentioned, are on her website. We've linked that to ours. You go to gooddaysacramento.com, click on show info at the top of the page, and then more for the rest of the links from today's show. And you can find out not only the other 5 tips on keeping your Valentine, but find out more about her trilogy series and the one that's coming up this summer. Thank you. So nice to see you.
Thank you.
And happy Valentine's Day.
You too.
Back to you.
All right, great advice.